Is an older guy who loved Warcraft 3 and the StarCraft games. I still believe in RTS, but there are some folks who say MOBA is the new RTS. What is your general feeling about the genre overall?
Having had the benefit of seeing the back end numbers both at Blizzard when I was there, also at EA for Command and Conquer when I was there, there is a very passionate core audience for RTS, and that passionate core audience hasn't diminished in any way.
Yeah.
What's actually happened is that other genres have eclipsed it. And so the size of the MOBA audience is orders of magnitude bigger than the RTS audience
Right.
ever was. Battle Royale, like insert genre here. There are all of these genres that have far eclipsed the size of the RTS genre. So I think, can the RTS genre still succeed? Is there an audience for it? Absolutely. Can the RTS genre be as big as MOBA or Battle Royale? That will require some kind of innovation, some kind of change that draws a bigger audience to the genre. At Frost Giant, we believed that innovation could be social play. Unfortunately, where we got to with development was still just trying to get the fundamentals right. Like, we didn't get to the point that we could deliver a great co-op experience, a great Team Mayhem experience, because of that scope challenge that I talked about before. Like, we had to pull back and just focus on the core modes. But I believe that well done, making RTS more social is still a good recipe to grow the genre. And there may be other gameplay innovations that contribute to that.
Right. Let me ask you about one of those. So
Sure.
I know,
Yeah.
I think it was at dinner a year or two ago. I think I talked to you about my theory, the micro versus macro complexity theory. And I'd love to see if you have a more current take on it. But for the audience, the theory that I had pitched Tim is that I felt like RTS has a lot of micro complexity, meaning the specific unit control, as well as macro complexity in terms of like the kind of buildings and where you're going to go on the map and like collection of resources and how you direct resources. And so RTS has a lot of micro and macro complexity. And I felt like what MOBA did is it reduced the macro and leaned more into the micro. And so one theory I had is, well, what if you did the opposite, where you launched a game that was less micro, heavier macro? Do you think an RTS that did that? I don't know if you have any more recent thoughts on my complexity theory, but what do you think, Tim?
So I think different audiences attach differently to macro and micro.
Okay.
And I guess I would argue tower defense, auto battlers. I mean, those are kind of
Kind of like that, yeah. True.
well, yeah, they're kind of the inverse. So where to a great extent MOBA deleted the macro, those to a great extent delete the micro. And I think all of these genres have been successful. So I think there's just something about player segmentation there is my bet. I do think that a great game could be made. I think Battle Aces was an example of simplified macro in a more traditional RTS with micro. I think it was a great game. And so I think there is promise in that direction, but I don't necessarily think that's the one path.
Hey folks, thanks so much for tuning in. Tim Morten from StarCraft 2 and Tim Campbell from Warcraft 3 created Frost Giant and really took their best shot at making a brand new RTS. If you want to hear the full story behind the starting of Frost Giant and their lessons learned from launching Stormgate, we have a full-length discussion with Tim right here. So tune in, check it out. It's a dope discussion with Tim Morten. Lots of lessons to be learned. Later.